What a delectable tipple, irredeemable whiskey. Give me a triple, a barrel of cider, an ale by the cask. I'm almost a widow, in case you should ask. Chambray wine goes down fine when reclining upon a chaise longue. Vermouth is of use when you feel aloof and you want to recapture your dwindling youth. First a scimitar and lime, one sip at a time, cast aside your misgiving, because the night is young and there's plenty of rum, and life after all is for living. Dance with me again, here's to the end of a golden era that we spent long years apart. I still know it by heart with no rehearsal. All that I have learned, it never made me happy. So let's forget for a while, swap your tears for a smile, till the final curtain call. I can't count all the letters I desperately wanted to write you. Put the ink on the page, but that's where it stayed. The minutes became hours, the hours were days. The days were long, the years unkind, though I don't wish to seem unforgiving, because the night is young and there's plenty of rum, and life after all is for living. Dance with me again, here's to the end of a golden era that we spent long years apart. I still know it by heart with no rehearsal. And all that I have learned, it never made me happy. So let's forget for a while, swap your tears for a smile, till the final curtain call. Do you remember, oh my lovin', when I first kissed you in the summertime? By November, in the winter, you had taken leave of me. Do you remember, oh my lovin', when I first kissed you in the summertime? By November, in the winter, you had taken leave of me.
Good evening and welcome back to the dwarven fortress of Esmulrakust, known in English as Filled Tombs, where we have recently been constructing an enormous temple so that people can go and pray. Well, when I say constructing, I mean more kind of we mined a lot of magnetite and it left a big gap in the rock and I declared that to be a temple. Possibly at some point we should do a bit better, but for now it will serve. We also, after discovering that you can't farm in the mountains, and technically up here is in the mountains, so we've left this kind of patch of furrowed silt loam which will probably never recover. We could farm down in the dead forest, or the sinister forest indeed, because we planted some fisherberry seeds a few months ago, and you can see that we now have fisherberries growing. Well, we have one, the rest have all been harvested. And we plan to grow melons and potatoes and spinach because we happen to have seeds of those in future months. So we are turning the forest green again, albeit by farming, by arable farming rather than by growing any new trees, because it looks like natural trees don't grow. So what else has been going on? Oh yes, and we're now growing. Sorry, I've been for a very long, well, not a very long cycle ride, quite a short cycle ride by reasonable standards, but quite long by the standards of me in the last 6 months, and so I am slightly slow of brain now. Anyway, yes, we've planted some plump helmets underground, having made ourselves some new a new underground farm plot, and those seem to, well, we've at least started planting them, and those will presumably provide us with some nice dwarven wine in due course. I think actually one change I do want to make now, while I remember, is not that one, is to find my still and look at how much space we're currently using in the booze stockpile. We're using about 2 rows, maybe a little over, out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10. 2 out of the 10 rows. So, and we currently try to brew if we have a limit of, we brew if we have like less than 100 booze in stock. So that suggests we could probably set that limit to more like 400 and we wouldn't overflow the booze stockpile. So let's do that. That's wrong. That's a very unhelpful condition. Let's put it back. And then let's change the limit to 400 instead. That in particular, I kind of want to do that in order that we will actually brew something that isn't dwarven wine, so that the dwarves have something else to drink. Now, there is of course going to be an issue that we'll run out of containers, so possibly we also want to make like maybe 100 rock pots. That's going to take a little while, isn't it? Maybe not quite that many, but let's make 80 rock pots and see how that goes. Oh, no, it gets made there, doesn't it? Yeah, that was the wrong button. That was the wrong button as well. There's going to be a lot of this tonight. Right, happily we have quite a lot of unhelpful rocks lying around, so I don't think this will run us out of rock. I am now considering that we should probably say that gypsum is a non-economic stone, because we have quite a lot of gypsum available and its only economic use is making plaster casts. And I'm not, well, actually I say we have lots of gypsum available. Actually, this layer may be the only one we've found gypsum in, so maybe we don't have a stupid amount of gypsum. But we will have to turn it into turn more of it into plaster. Oh yes, I thought we could probably use some of this leather, didn't I? So one thing I want to do is to construct a leather workshop next to our meat handling facilities. It's probably done under clothing, isn't it? Yes, stoves. And that was the wrong button as well. Because if nothing else, we might want to make some leather bags for sticking seeds in, and plaster indeed. and we've scheduled the production of a lot of spikes to go in the moat, and we probably want to start thinking about new bedrooms as well. Oh yes, I was slightly worried, possibly after the last session, that the reason why we've had precisely 2 immigrant waves might be that our civilization was extinct or couldn't reach us, because I think the first 2 immigrant waves are kind of faked and will turn up whatever, and then after that they only turn up if there's like a reason for them to turn up, if there's somewhere for them to come from, and if that somewhere has heard of you and so forth, and they depend on what your reputation is in the mountain home, like how much you've been producing and stuff. So I was a little concerned. I'm a little concerned by what that red X there is. That wasn't there the last time I looked. Anyway, let's not worry about that. Ignore that. Oh right, there's some green stuff going on over there. Maybe we've learnt something about what's going on in the world. Anyway, so this is our fortress, and our civilization is the noble work, and we can see that the main dwarven places around are part of the Picts of Spray. Our previous civilization, because I remember while Shoot Test is unoccupied at the moment, we did invade these dark pits. So our previous civilization is the Orbs of Yore. So at first glance it does look a little unfortunate, but that one's that one though is part of the noble work. So there is at least another fortress down, rather some hillocks, burial chutes just down there. I'm beginning to think that with filled tombs and burial chutes, we may have something of a theme going here. But further south, I think I found some more of them. Yes, their main setup is down here, where the names are slightly less worrying. Floor Gem, Pearl Clasp, Fang Mansion.
I mean, Fang Mansion isn't necessarily, you know...
Sabre Pools. Steamy Tin. Water Wheeled, Iron Gazes. Murder Mirrored. Plat Gloves, Sabre Shark. And so forth. So yes, our civilization is not dead, but most of it is quite a long way away, which might be why we haven't seen very many immigrants yet. It might take a little while for news of our activities to reach them. So I think that might indicate some kind of a battle, and this might indicate people moving. So apparently that might be, so that's the dead tower. No, there's the dead tower of the mountains. No, the dead tower's the mountains. So there doesn't seem to be anything there. I don't quite know what's going on there. Dizzyat, I don't know how the civilization was chosen. I mean, it is slightly surprising that we're not part of the Picts of Spray, given where we landed. But I think maybe that got chosen automatically and then I chose a location. Possibly I should have paid more attention. Usually I should pay more attention. So, yes, the major thing I think I wanted to do this session, though I might get distracted by vegetables, is to try to get the military into a vaguely organised state, so that people are wearing armour and carrying weapons. We need to make some weapons, and I can tell them what to do if necessary. So we had created the crystalline drums, but they don't have very many members at the moment. We probably want, like we had in Shoot Test, a squad for people who are depressed where they aren't required to do anything, and indeed are kind of positively required to have fun, and a squad for miners who will not generally be brought into the fight, but who should still wear armour for safety. So possibly we should make those two now. No, the spikes are not for sticking goblins' heads on. They are for sticking entire goblins on, or rather for allowing goblins to stick themselves on. So these are going to be the replacement for the lardy larks. So we want an adjective that might imply, probably an adjective that might imply, I think bloated might be going a bit far, might imply being relaxed. Though I am slightly tempted to include the word breakfast, but maybe not. Okay, the word buttered is just too amusing. Oh, that's in the wrong place though. I don't want it there. Don't want it there. Buttered the hides of. Or does that work if I start? No, I want it. I want in adjectives, don't I? Or possibly the X of X. No, not of X. That's no good.
Yeah, is buttered available as an adjective?
Should be. It was an adjective. Okay. I mean, it is an adjective. Maybe not. Oh. Oh, right. Buttery. We can have buttery. Sorry. Yes.
Buttered buttery hides of cook.
No.
The buttery toast.
I'm not sure that's quite the thing I'm aiming for, but we could have the buttery brunch.
Well, then buttery starts to sound like a noun.
Yes. Okay, we'll call them the buttery brunch, which is obviously a reference to Queen's College at the weekends, whichever day it was. Saturday.
Yeah, brunch is there.
Right, there we go. Sunday, Seb reminds me. Right. So that's our mostly off duty, but you should still be wearing armour. Actually, try to train, but we won't give you anywhere to train. So you should go and like pray and relax and talk to your friends and so forth, and this will make you happier. And then this one, which we called the Busy Picks or something in the last one, which is like almost too good a name for the miners. They're not actually in alphabetical order, are they? I'll find something I like soon. They will be called the Divine Stones. So the Divine Stones should be slightly adjusted. Hang on. Oh, does that not work until I've put some people in them? I mean, they're already, yeah, I don't claim to understand what's going on here. Let's leave that for now. So we have 2 squads that I've successfully created, plus the crystalline drums. And we're going to actually need, we won't be able to put We do actually have 5 people who are kind of grumpy at the moment, so maybe we should stick all of them in the buttery brunch and see what happens. Just slightly tedious process. They're only slightly unhappy, mind. And actually, I did discover while wandering around the game earlier that people being unhappy makes the expedition leader happy. Because I think she likes being able to help people, and so she keeps feeling empathy when being cried on by an unhappy citizen. And I think I did spot an earlier one that was, maybe it's not, empathy while being yelled at by an unhappy citizen. So it is actually slightly good for our mayor for people to be slightly unhappy.
Just not necessarily good for the rest of the citizens.
Yes.
I'm a little disturbed by the name of that god. Emerald Boulder, the Oily Diamond.
That is a slightly odd name, yes. So yes, I mean, this does mean that at least she won't disappear into an unhappiness spiral when the rest of the fortress is unhappy. But possibly one notch of unhappiness is not actually worth worrying about. So we should stick into the divine stones. Can we stick people in there? Yes, we can. Our 2 miners. And that will probably work all right. Well, in that case, let's just stuff into the crystalline drums enough people to fill them up. Maybe with a slight bias towards not putting lots of people with the same skills in there. At least some of them are going to collect their kit, so that's good. Right, so we are short of bags, but we do now have a leather works, so I could... How much leather do we have lying around? Not a lot, I don't think. Somewhere weird, like tanned hides. Yes. You have 6, okay.
As long as they're only tanned and not also buttered.
Indeed. No, that's not how I wanted to do that. I wanted to do it as work order. Well, let's make 5 leather bags so that we can store slightly more stuff. So if I wanted to, so I'm thinking about how I get more bedrooms in, and it's obviously folly to head further west because then we're getting into places where an attacking army might dig their way into. If they like just went to the bottom of the moat and started digging, which eventually we want to stop by filling the moat with magma, but that's going to take a little while. Oh yes, I should put a floor hatch over that staircase so that it's harder to get out of the moat if I've decided that you're not allowed to get out of the moat. Do we have any undecorated hatch covers? Not even slightly, no. Well, let's just take the first one then, I'm sure it's fine. Right, So yes, for the bedrooms, I think we probably want to, well, either we start going north and south, or we go down, which will involve penetrating all the way through the aquifer and trying to organise things on the going through it so it doesn't leak too much water into the downstairs bedrooms, which will probably be easy enough because it doesn't seem to be a very vigorous aquifer. Also, pondering this making bricks, because they are quite expensive in coal. I think we only get one unit of bricks per coal that we put in, whereas say if we were even making metal blocks, we would get more. We would get, I think, more, one unit of blocks per unit of bars, and we get at least four sets of bars per coal. So I'm a bit uncertain about whether we should actually keep making porcelain.
The units conversion is certainly confusing me.
Yes.
That's probably just, balls really.
So, yes, I'm not sure who's doing that brewing, if anyone. Right, so someone is now making some leather bags, which will probably help. I mean that we can make a bit more plaster. We might want to start trying to put actual effort into storing seeds somewhere, not sure about that. And we probably, we now have a decent stock of beds. We don't need the beds yet, they'll just sit here getting decorated for a little while. I think that's perfectly reasonable. What are you hauling? Bauxite, okay, yes, that's perfectly sensible. Right, I think we've used up our stocks of silver, but we should possibly mine some more tetrahedrite, because it would be good to have copper at least. Like that bit of tetrahedrite seems to have run out, but it's possible it'll keep going if past that. Maybe it's just crossing a hematite vein. On the other hand, there's definitely some tetrahedrite there. Weirdly, iron ore is turning out much more easily available than copper ore. No, that's the wrong mode. Automatically mine that. But the thing is that iron takes a lot more coal to smelt. Like ideally, we would find a good source of cassiterite and be able to make bronze, which is very cheap in coal, because you don't need to. You can get 2 units of cassiterite per. You can get rather 8 bars of not cassiterite, 8 bars of bronze per coal, because you throw in both cassiterite and tetrahedrite. I mean, there are even more effective things to make. Some of the kinds of pewter, I think, but they require even more tin, and hence even more cassiterite. And we found like 2 squares of cassiterite so far, which is not enough. So yes, we're a bit. So the best we can do is actually Billen. No, Billen, I think. Billen consumes 2. Maybe Billen is actually cheaper in coal than plain copper is. Maybe we should be making Billen rather than copper for things that don't specifically need to be weapons grade, which admittedly the major things we want to make at the moment are the spikes, which no, that's chert, not cassiterite. Yeah. But yes, given the main things we want to make are spikes, which require a weapons grade metal, and excellent, something more to kill. and we will want weapon traps eventually, which will require weapons grade metals. It's kind of a bit is not that helpful making billion, but we can at least stud things with it. So there's a discussion of profiteroles on IRC. So that water buffalo is no one's pet, and hence we can turn it into leather. We may be reaching the point of having an excess of cats.
The tendency to leave out vowels makes it look as if that's a stray water buffalo bill.
Yes, it's not a water buffalo bill, it's a water buffalo bull. And we are going to convert it into meat and leather bags for putting gypsum plaster in, mostly, and possibly some soap in due course. Maybe we should. Sorry, the soap industry is so tedious to set up. I'm wishing we had ordered some lye. You've got caper leaves. What are they good for? Well, I mean, they're probably all right to eat, I suppose. Not usually the bit of the caper you bother with, though. That actually looks like that's probably the full extent of that tetrahedrite vein, doesn't it? I mean, there is some there, but I don't really want to go west from here very far, because then it will start being an access route into the fortress for enemies. I think most of the tetrahedrite is like, there's some tetrahedrite there as well, which we could probably dig out some of before it starts looking like a risk. I'm kind of continuing to do my gratuitous opencast mining thing. Except that there is very little of that that's actually accessible here. We're going to need to dig into the cliff face a bit, I think. Because yes, the other thing, in addition to putting spikes in the moat, that I want to do is to enhance this area to, at the very least, be full of weapon traps. Probably weapon traps that are set up for the purposes of, you're at least not complaining about all the booze being the same. Weapon traps should be set up to deal with potential undead menace, who will be. Don't worry, there's some bones coming. Who will be most vulnerable to being hit with maces or hammers, because you want, in general, to pulverize undead rather than just hacking bits off them, because if you hack bits off them, the bits tend to come back to life. Right. There's probably some bits in here we don't want to keep. Like cartilage. Nervous tissue. Not sure whether we need the hair for anything, but maybe we should keep it around. So there's kind of stuff going on. Oh, we should put some more beds in the hospital, shouldn't we? Those don't need to be blinged up too much. Noting that we only have one unblinged bed. Right, there was someone dragging some more gypsum plaster powder into the hospital, which is good. More kittens, right, we may need to do something about the cat situation. We've probably got more than we need now. Can't remember if you need to build a building for gelding animals. I think you do. Possibly we should just like slaughter a couple of cats. No one, though we don't currently seem to have a crazy cat dwarf, so it isn't necessary for us to keep all the cats. Let's recycle the first 2 cats. I mean, I don't know that you get much meat off a cat, but it will keep them keep their numbers under control. That's the wrong. Oh, there's a decent amount of meat on that one. And doesn't produce nervous tissue or cartilage. Cats are clearly the perfect size of animal.
What, large enough to have some meat on them, but not so large that they have extra bits to dispose of afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. It seems slightly sad to eat them, but equally, I mean, if you can't farm, you can't farm. So.
Well, I mean, the problem is that we'll have too many cats if we just let them breed.
It's true, yes.
I mean, I could start gelding them. Yes, cats don't eat. So it's not like they're going to starve to death. But they do consume CPU time.
Nor is it useful for them to hunt mice, because...
It is actually slightly useful for them to hunt mice, but we don't need very many for that.
Produce new cats at a rate far exceeding the number of mice
Yes.
that need to be murdered.
I mean, the traditional problem with cats is that once they have owners, they're pets, so they can't be slaughtered, and so traditionally you would have the problem of and because cats choose their owners, you can't ever mark a cat as such that it can't become a pet, because the cat's the one that decides that, and the cats, unlike the dwarves, will not follow instructions. Even less so than the dwarves.
The dwarves at least have mostly mastered malicious compliance.
And so, yes, traditionally it would be quite difficult to avoid the situation where you have far too many cats and they have all attached themselves to the crazy cat dwarf, and therefore you can't slaughter them anymore.
And they're just sitting there taking up CPU cycles and generally getting in the way.
But now you can at least geld them, which should slow them down. And at the moment, we don't have a crazy cat dwarf. So possibly I should set up a farmer's workshop, geld our remaining adult male cat, and try to keep the numbers under control by slightly more sensible means. Think that's the thing that I want for this job. But like, this also gives us a source of leather, which is nice.
Catskin gloves.
Yes. You don't get a lot of leather off a cat, mind, but...
Well, this is why you make catskin gloves out of it rather than,
Yes.
catskin jerkin.
Well, you get one leather, which is enough for like most items of clothing, I think. We can make bags. The process of planting things in this farm plot doesn't seem to be going very well. Like, we are barely keeping up with the rate at which the plump helmets mature. Do we like have a shortage of plump helmet spawn or something? We shouldn't have, because we should have as much as we should be getting it back as fast as we're...
When you harvest
Yes, well, not when you harvest it, but when you brew plump helmets into wine, you get the spawn out of them. You don't get it out if you cook them into prepared meals, but I have plump helmets marked as not to be cooked for that reason. No, we do appear to have a shortage of plump helmet spawn. That's weird. I don't think there's any good reason why we should have a shortage of plump helmet spawn. I think when eaten raw, they similarly provide spawn. Seb says, Kias? I think they're only stealing our blocks. Yes, we do have a supply of tetrahedrite. How did my attempt at opencast mining a bit of it here go? So now that one I think is still... I mean, I'm also kind of turning the front of the fortress into more of a cliff here, which is probably helpful. Only it's going to cease being a cliff pretty swiftly and turn into a great big tunnel. I don't want to go very deep into the cliff face because this tunnel will then start being an access route for digging capable enemies. So I need to be a bit cautious about it. We can dig a little way into the mountain here. I mean, I think it's perfectly reasonable to dig as far as the front wall of the main entrance to the fortress, which is there. Because that will mean they have as much digging if they come in through this tunnel as through any other route. But this tunnel will be treated as part of the outside world rather than part of the fortress. What's that? We have bumblebees buzzing around the dead forest. And honeybees. I suppose as long as they're moving away from the fortress. Well, no, the problem is that they can go down, I suppose. Yeah, but the fortress doesn't extend very far. We'll stick to the front wall being our limit of mining from the outside world. Oh, someone's got into a fight with the Kia this time. Well, we say that. The Kia attacks the blacksmith runs away. More bravery might be nice. So where were you interrupted by a Kia? Okay, I think that puts you in the outside world. No, it was there because you just dropped some kaolinite there. Yeah, the Kias are getting into the fortress. I think I might want to put a few... well, I mean, we're going to be starting to fill space. They probably fly, don't they? We'll probably want to put some traps in for catching Kias. Maybe we should make 3 cage traps for Kias. So I'm not quite sure what we do with them. Maybe we just take them out and release them into the wild. And hope that they fly away. Like, I don't want to be training Kias, do I? Do I want to be training Kias? We don't have enough mechanisms to build enough Kias, enough traps at the moment. Let's make some more stone mechanisms.
He said be a slope. You said I, so I was saying be a slope.
That was in the box and you're writing anything else.
Okay, which I haven't read.
Right, what am I doing? I can't remember. Sorry, I got distracted. It has started raining. That's nice. Blacksmith is not actually fighting. He's just confused. We've built a cage trap, but we don't actually have any cages. We should smelt some metal to some things to billen, because that's a convenient. So how do we conditionalize that? That's just done on trying to make us have a decent supply of copper, right? So let's add an additional rule for the same kind of purpose. That's make billen bars using ore if we don't have 10 billen bars in stock. And I think billen will be a good general purpose metal for doing things that we need metal for, but we don't need a weapons grade metal. Right, we are making some spikes. Now getting a bit worried about what happened to that. Oh no, that tetrahedrite mine is still safe. This is the column where I probably want to tell it to stop. If, like, it hasn't already run out of tetrahedrite by then, but it's looking fairly well supplied with tetrahedrite. Oh no, we found the end of that vein. Excellent, right. That tetrahedrite vein ran out at just the right point. So where do spikes appear in here? If we can try typing spike. They are trap components, right? We have 15 menacing copper spikes in stock. So we could construct one square full of menacing copper spikes. So let's put it somewhere where you might fall onto it either from the bridge or from climbing up the wall, which would be there. And then say, look, just install 10 menacing copper spikes in it, please. Right. And then when we have another 10, we'll put them on the other side, and that will at least be a start to allow people to fall onto them when necessary. Yes, stop trying to load the cage trap. We'll load the cage trap when it's good and ready. Well, when we've got some cages, which I plan to make out of billen. We are trying to make, so we have, let's carefully watch the process of making tetrahedrite, of turning tetrahedrite into a user one doing it, yes. So you're currently hauling the second tetrahedrite in there. And you then were operating it, don't you need, have you already got some coal? No, you can't possibly be actually making it yet. You're going to need some coal. Well, I mean, I say that. Maybe there's some coal in there already. Let's have another look. Oh, yes, because the coal was probably made in there, so we have 2 tetrahedrite in that task. I presume that copper bars is in use for a different task. Right, no, it appears, Maybe I should check the others actually then. It appears to use 2 tetrahedrite and 2 coke. So it's not actually any more advantageous than making copper in terms of amount of metal. Indeed, it's slightly less so because you get the occasional bonus silver if you smelt copper from thing. But it's a different metal. We can stud more things with tetrahedrite. Tetrahedrite? Billen. So we've now got 8 billen bars kicking around in there. So let's add a new column over here. We'll remove those 3 squares. I think it should actually be 4. Oh well, those 4 squares from the furniture stockpile, and put a new billen stockpile in its place. And then we can specify that, then we can add another task here, which is stud with billen if we have more than 10 billen bars.
Maybe it actually uses more CPU on their servers. That sounds actually quite plausible.
Right. Though that won't happen very soon. Kias are still nicking our blocks. I mean, there are worse things for them to be nicking. Blocks are worth very little. Stone blocks are worth very little. Meanwhile, let's make some billen cages. Though, yeah, I'm not quite certain it's actually worth using billen rather than copper for this now I come to think of it. Let's make some copper cages. We probably don't need 10 of them. Steph says, how big is a block? Yeah, I think they're not really individual blocks. They're blockses in that a single unit of block is enough to build one wall that's the size of a character cell, or to cover the floor of a character cell. So, like, they're probably more like 100 bricks or something. I'm not sure, maybe more. So yes, I don't quite know how the Kias steal an entire thing of blocks. I'm wondering if they're making particularly sturdy nests out of them or something, like small houses. Oh dear, we've got yak bone leggings that keep being enhanced. We should have boss named those, that kept being enhanced. I think I forbade them in order to stop them being enhanced further. So yes, we are now getting bits of cat bone applied to things. So there's our farmer's workshop, which appears to be built, which I think means we could now geld our adult male cat, which will probably help with the kitten situation. So we have a kaolinite stockpile there. We really not have like any kaolinite lying around. They're under boulders now, aren't they? Yes. Definitely got no shortage of boulders in general. Oh, yes, I could make the game log work. Give me a mo. That shouldn't take me long. Where's the scope for it? I need to change into the correct directory first, though. I mean, when I say it shouldn't take me long, this is in part dependent on my being awake. That should fix it. I mean, there's not much going on in there, to be fair. It's not like when we're in the middle of a battle when, or the siege, when lots of things will happen. So there are allegedly 8 kaolinite in the world. Possibly just the dwarves are too busy hauling other things to get round to hauling the kaolinite. And I think it is quite a long way away. There's some. That could totally be stockpiled if someone wanted to stockpile it. Oh, we're back to early autumn. It's time for the dwarven caravan to turn up. We also need to wait for Dwarf Fortress to finish saving. There we go. I think the cat is objecting to the gelding operation. So where else did I find a tetrahedrite vein? Is the one nice and close to the entrance? So I found the one just down from the entrance. It's obviously less walking if it's near the entrance, but it's a bit dangerous because we don't want to make the innards of the fortress too accessible. Oh, there's some more gypsum. That might be useful. Small bit of rock crystal up there. Quickly mine that while I remember it. Oh, there's some tetrahedrite, right.
So I've got one cargo right.
So it's a new season and therefore everyone is going out. We should possibly have some dedicated planters rather than everyone trying to plant things, because then the people will learn planting skill. But this farm plot now has muskmelon seeds planted in it. Which I'm sure will be helpful. Spotted another convenient exposed gem cluster. I'm slightly micromanaging the mining here, mostly for amusement value. Yes, we have one dwarf who is now significantly unhappy. Why are you feeling like that? You are panicked after being attacked by the cat you were trying to geld. Mostly, I think. Also, you don't like the rain. Look, the choice is between gelding and slaughter. Oh, we've struck some clear tourmaline. Right. Actually, we can also mine that lignite while we're here. Like, it feels like we may as well, actually, if we're going to do that. Just like get the common stone from that area as well. Why is that marked for going down? That's an error. That should be done from the floor above. We may actually have to fell a tree just to get it out of the way here. Yes, that's because other people keep digging channels around you. Hey, stop stealing my gems! Even if they're quite low value gems. They're still mine. I don't know whether anything will grow on the mountains after we've mined things, because it's because mountains tend not to be able to recover very well. But happily, the elves only care about trees and not grass, and we'll leave the trees. I mean, admittedly, they may be standing on pillars of rock, where we have mined away all of the surrounding material. Yes, the trees do have roots, but they're not generally very wide. So like this dead sandpear tree here appears to only actually have these 2 squares of roots underneath it. So, and they essentially don't count as rock, it looks like. So we can't mine anything from them anyway. Get a bit more microcline from there, that'll tidy things up a little. And then all of this lot is well underground unless we start open cast mining gypsum, which I don't think we're going to need to. So now we'll just tunnel into the rock there. That's quite a long way north, so we can probably be a bit generous with how deep we let them go. Indeed, that's almost so far north that digging south into the fortress from there is going to be an effort. Stop stealing our jade. I mean, mostly the Kias seem to be stealing things from outside. Is this now? No, these aren't yet loaded. I do have a task to make cages, don't I? Yes, they are in fact being made as we speak. So yes, in addition to the tetrahedrite here, and indeed the clear tourmaline, we've also found a bit of lignite. I'm a little worried about mining jade out, mining gems in the open, because it looks like that mostly seems to be a good way to get the Kias to nick it. I mean, to be fair, pretty much everything seems to be a good way to get the Kias to nick things. Yes, we're out of bags. I'm not too surprised. We've probably got a decent amount of plaster done now. Right, there's the tetrahedrite mines. Probably need to, I'm thinking maybe I should add a note in the wiki somewhere about the amount of coal going up with the number of metal bars you make. I mean, it's obviously correct, but I have but I didn't realise it, which means possibly it wasn't made obvious enough. Kind of now paying attention to this mine because I'm a bit worried that it's going to get a bit too close to the fortress. Right, we've put a cage in one of the 3 cage traps, which I hope will at least stop the Kias nicking things from inside the fortress. kind of going, when do I stop these? When do I stop this mine? I mean, this is, oh, excellent. I have an outpost liaison and a caravan. Possibly I should see what ludicrous furniture we can sell them. So this, yeah, we don't want to get so close that it's easier to dig into the Barbican from here than from outside. I don't know that we're quite there yet, but maybe we're getting close. Maybe we should say that that's as deep as we're going. Right, so let's look at what goods we might have that are highly valuable. So we have some terrifyingly valuable hatch covers. Like, those are fairly low importance and have accidentally got possibly over decorated. We'll obviously take any large gems we still have lying around. Let's go for the really high value hatch covers. Got a few really high value tables. One really high value throne. Beds are too precious because they're made of wood, but we will offer some doors as well. Right, that will probably be enough to cover whatever we want to buy. So we probably want to mine that clear tourmaline and white jade, but possibly not until people are a little bit more idle so that they can bring them into the... Actually, let's check what the state of the rough gems stockpile is. Like, does it look like it needs topping up, or do we just leave them out there in solid rock for now until someone actually needs them? I mean, we appear... Right, so that bin in the rough gem stockpile is empty. That one only has a few gems in it. Rather annoyingly, there's a quantity of gypsum lying on the floor of the rough gem stockpile blocking the other two squares. We might try manually removing those in a bit. But I think that probably means that those gem clusters are worth mining and will get put away reasonably swiftly. If we mine them. Our broker has just got distracted by decorating something with bone, so it might be a little while before they're available. Let's wait until we've seen what the trading brings us before we talk to the liaison. So they brought tons of wood, though really, okay, I select the wood, which costs £5 a log because we asked them to bring extra, and in return they're paying a lot. Dizzy, it says, did you deliberately skip one of the tables? No. It also points out quite sensibly that anyone digging into the fortress would be quite well protected if they went in that way. Yes. Oh well. We'll see what they do. So the logs are worth like 5 or 6 each, rather than the usual 3. But apparently they've brought enough that's worth 540 in total. So we're not going to be short of wood now. We'll buy some pump helmet spawn because we appear to have unaccountably run out. Do we want to buy some leather and some vegetables and such? Probably. Let's just add things to our side so that we know roughly where we are and whether we've run out of things to buy. So they've brought a decent quantity of vegetables, some cloth, and that's it apparently. This is a rather random selection. I mean, I don't really mind because they're probably mostly quite a good selection. I haven't even brought any cheese. Should we also buy some fish? We are not short of food. Like, the booze situation is slightly unfortunate and we might want to try to make more. But food we're all right for, and fish cannot be turned into booze. So I think we will not buy meat or fish. We will buy some plump helmet spawn. Actually, let's buy a second bag of plump helmet spawn. We can afford that. We choose a slightly... no, we are fairly close to the correct point anyway. And like, we could buy some leather in order to make up the numbers, because we might want quivers, I suppose. Right, there, that looks about right. In return for 2 doors, a large rectangular pyrite, and a hatch cover, we are buying more wood than we can reasonably eat, and also stocking up on plump helmet spawn again, and leather, and a variety of leaves and fruit, some of which we might be able to get seeds out of. In particular, I think if we brew those strawberries, they will produce strawberry seeds, which we can then plant. Dizzyet asks whether purring maggot leather is purring leather or purring maggots. Purring maggots. They are the creatures that are milked to produce dwarven milk, I think it's called, which you then turn into dwarven cheese. We've got some cloth as well. No, I don't think we need cloth. I mean, we might need a bit of cloth. Buy a bit of cloth. Just a little bit of wool. There. Small amount of alpaca wool. Right, that'll do. Let's discuss your situation. There is much to share. You've added stuff to my civilizations menu, which I should look at. What do I want from thing next time? Can we ask for lie? I mean, it's going to be a bit late, but We can. Yes, please bring us lye. Kind of tempted to say just please bring us all the wood again, even though we might not buy it. Maybe bring us slightly less wood than last time. Let's go for just the first page of wood, which is a bit random, but... Good night, Steph. So we can request some kinds of garden vegetables. Let's do that. We can request bags based on what they're made of if we really wanted to. Similarly, we can ask for quivers made from particular kinds of leather. Oh, we're going to want some backpacks, aren't we? That's why we wanted leather. Yes, that's fine. We can make leather into backpacks ourselves. Right, we could order some cheese, but the humans bring cheese anyway. So yeah, I think that'll do. I don't think we want to try to influence them very much. Just keep bringing wood, please. And bring us some lye so that we can make soap without having to build up an entire damn lye industry. You want crutches and splints? Yeah, thank you. We're just going to keep making tables. Like, setting up a finished goods decorating procedure is going to disrupt everything. But yes, our soldiers will want backpacks, won't they? Can we make like 20 leather backpacks? Have we got enough leather for that? No. Well, let's make 10 leather. Let's make some leather backpacks. Let's make 5 so that we've at least made a start on them. Right, now we can sew lots more plump helmet spawn. So now I need to adjust our kitchen rules so as to not cook the various kinds of fruit that we're hoping to extract seeds from, which actually is just strawberries, isn't it? Yes. It's the only thing that we don't have. We didn't even get any tallow out of the cats, apparently. Or we've cooked it all into meals already, I suppose. I am now thinking I should try to... What are you doing? You keep going halfway to the stockpile and then realising that you could probably carry more vegetables and then coming back and collecting more vegetables repeatedly. Like, how about you think about how many vegetables... Oh, right, that's all the vegetables you can carry, all stuffed into a thing at once. Good. Oh. So yes, I think there may be, yes, there's a problem if we cook. I mean, we might want to experiment with what happens if you, for instance, eat a horned melon rather than cooking it. Do we get seeds out like that? Because I really don't know. Perhaps more generally, we should try to watch dwarves cooking and eating. I mean, cooking, I think, never produces seeds. So here we're just brewing plump helmets, which will make dwarven wine and should also produce a seed. Let's check. So plump helmet in a tunnel tube barrel. And then that task has now... have you got distracted? There doesn't seem to be the person who was brewing the thing in the wasp name seems to have stopped brewing the thing in the wasp name. That's slightly inconvenient. Look, I was trying to make sense of the brewing process and you ran away while you were meant to be showing it to me. Wow, everything's studded with copper again. Is someone going to come along here and brew a thing again so that I can observe how the process works? No, because everyone is busy planting plump helmets. Apparently. I mean, not actually everyone, but certainly an awful lot of people. Someone just walked off with some... Right, let us observe these then. What are you eating? You're eating a thing. The thing is on the table. You are directly eating a raw artichoke heart. And you are eating a cat meat roast. So we don't expect anything good to come out of the cat meat roast. There is currently nothing on that chair or on that table apart from the artichoke heart. So does eating an artichoke heart leave a seed behind? It does not, which I think is what the wiki had already told me, but it's always useful to confirm these things. So yes, we do not have any artichoke seeds popping out of that. That's fine, except that, I would prefer you not to be eating raw artichoke hearts. I would prefer to be brewing those into artichoke wine. But, if that's what you want to do, I can't really stop you. Except I can discourage you from entering the ingredient stockpile, but this only works once the items have been placed into the ingredient stockpile. No, artichokes do not bleed. Someone's eating another one of the artichoke hearts. Stop it. Yes, I know they're tasty. Masterpiece menacing copper spike. We've also found something else to stud with copper. And you're storing that plump helmet in a barrel. Okay. Dizzy says, maybe if you have more chefs, there will be more prepared meals. What's our prepared meal stocks looks like? Is there actually a shortage of prepared meals? If there is, then I will get more people working on it. We've got 327 prepared meals in stock for a fortress with a population of 20. We are not short of prepared meals. People have just decided that they want to eat artichoke hearts. It's not that kind of artichoke. Sorry, that was an unhelpful comment. Jutton finds someone in the real world who made Jerusalem artichoke wine. We're not growing Jerusalem artichokes. These are globe artichokes. Hence having hearts. I'm not quite sure why. Why are you sleeping there? Look, there are bedrooms available downstairs. I'm pretty sure that the bedrooms can't all be occupied because there are 20 bedrooms and I think there are 20 bedrooms. There are 20 bedrooms and there are not 20 dwarves. Well, there are 20 dwarves in the fortress. Look, huge run of unoccupied bedrooms. Go downstairs and sleep in a proper bedroom. Then you won't be unhappy about the fact that you're not sleeping in a proper bedroom. Yeah, I think that the dwarves are eating raw ingredients just to annoy me.
I mean, that is part of their job.
Like, I have already told them, do not go into the ingredient stockpile. So they should treat the ingredient stockpile as being a lot further away than the prepared food stockpile. And yet, I mean, possibly there might be a hint of lock contention because the prepared meals are stored in they're stored in 5 containers. 4 containers, that one's empty. So there shouldn't be like contention over getting things out of the containers. Right, someone is now working on brewing a drink from a plant here. So they'll probably turn up with the plant in a moment. It shouldn't be hard because this is the stockpile they're meant to get the plants from, but... Oh, and we should investigate down... Oh, not all the way down here. Down on the forest floor, how that stock is doing. So now we have... Some things have grown into muskmelon vines, which might mean they're ready for harvesting. Let me have a quick look. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares currently occupied with vines. How many vines do we actually have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. We're not very good at planting yet. I think we might want to have 2 or 3 dedicated planters for this task. All right, and that lignite seam does extend further beyond the white jade cluster if we need it, but I don't think we're that desperate for lignite at the moment. Right, so I think now we have 1 square that contains 10 menacing copper spikes pointing upwards. We've probably got enough copper spikes now to install a second one. Yes, given that we have 22 trap components, of which, or rather we have 22 unused and 10 used, so we could install another 10 in another square. So then we could possibly start digging this out. Maybe I should leave that until a day when I have more brain. Right, I was a little worried at the shortage of coal, but it's all been stuffed into... Oh, right, I forgot to pay attention to that task. Surely there should be plants we can brew. Let's watch the person who's brewing drinks before I get distracted again. If I can keep my concentration even that long. Oh, you've got distracted by having to conduct a meeting, have you? Okay. That might be why there's so little brewing going on, if unhappy dwarves are repeatedly insisting on conducting meetings in a completely unsuitable location. Look, I appreciate... What is that still designated as a meeting area or something? No. Why did you go all the way over here to conduct a meeting? Do I need to give the expedition leader an office just so that they don't keep trekking all the way to the old fortress to conduct meetings? Like, we don't have an expedition leader's office, in part because the expedition leader doesn't demand an office, but maybe we should finally mine out the remaining area of the dining room and those two offices. Which will also improve our hematite stocks. Not that we really... Native gold, ooh. Not that we really need hematite, but I won't object to native gold, even if I'm not quite sure what we should do with it yet. Plus, like, having a native gold floor is probably quite valuable. Maybe we should smooth those couple of squares. We should certainly enlarge the official area of the dining room. Probably worth smoothing the native gold sections of the floor at least. Okay, you've got distracted before actually coming and mining the final thing. Someone is trying to brew drink from plant, though that may not actually work. But since it's the expedition leader, there's a chance that they'll have to hold a meeting before. Yes, this is one of our problems why we're running out of booze, is because the expedition leader is also the brewer and keeps getting distracted by having to hold meetings. So this should actually improve matters in terms of our booze supply, building an office for the expedition leader just so that they have somewhere better to hold meetings. Like, we have masterpiece meals now. People really should be eating those masterpiece meals. Conveniently, unlike most other masterpieces, cooks don't get unhappy when their masterpieces are eaten or destroyed. by eating. I think they might get unhappy if their masterpieces are destroyed uneaten. Right, that's probably a good place for a... I don't know which one. One reason for digging out this office is just because it's a source of hematite. Yeah, that's fine. We've bought everything we want from them. Right. So at the moment, the dining room is missing this corner. So let's just paint in that section as well, which should increase its value a bit. So we don't curiously actually get to see how good it is here. I think only dining rooms that are assigned to people get rated visibly. And meanwhile, we can create an office. Office, there it is. There. And we can assign that to the expedition leader. And hopefully now the expedition leader will hold meetings there rather than somewhere in the distance. Now, they may actually be doing some brewing. Yes. Okay, right, what are the ingredients involved in that? They are currently brewing a plump helmet with a large jet pot, sorry. Except that they now have a meeting to conduct. Right, will you conduct the meeting in your new office? You appear to have already abandoned the idea of the meeting and gone boozing instead. Except that there was no way you were going to drink the booze from the booze stockpile. No, no, no. You're going to drink the booze from the still. Right, now back to the meeting. Nope, you're still going outside in order to hold the meeting in the wrong place. Please stop it. I might just lock the door to the old fortress soon in order to discourage people from going over there repeatedly. I mean, I could wall in that room where they appear to keep holding this meeting. Are you conspiring or something, which is why you can't do it in the... And now you're insisting that actually what you need to do is to put this pair of trousers away somewhere. And then you're going to conduct a meeting again. Still no migrants, but I don't think this is a problem. A meeting conducted. Back to the brewing. We can do some brewing, can't we? I may just have to, I'm going to have to do something about this. I am going, as a temporary measure at least, to forbid access to the old fortress. Right, try to hold your meeting somewhere more useful. Or store an owned item, that's fine, but maybe don't do it by visiting the old fortress. I'm not sure the expedition leader can plan a mutiny. Like they're in charge. Look, you can't get in there anymore. I've locked the door. So now you get to hold your meetings outside. Well, okay, if you must. But you do have an office now, you know. Right. I'm going to find another dwarf who isn't very good at anything and make them into a brewer. I mean, everyone does now actually have some skills, admittedly. So maybe we should just pick someone with a useless skill and ask them to learn brewing, please, because someone else... Oh, I think that was one of the fortress guards shooting one of the Kias. I don't think the expedition leader should have any opinion on the quality of their study. Like, it's better than either our bookkeeper or our manager needs. And the expedition leader doesn't need one. Only once they become a mayor will they have an opinion on that, if they become the mayor. Oops, I didn't mean for that stockpile to take bins. Turn off bins on that stockpile. Otherwise we'll end up with all our metal stored in the wrong place. I mean, it doesn't much matter for given that metal, but... Right, we've now got 2 sets of spikes installed. Oh, it's almost midnight and I'm quite snooze. So I think... Okay, someone harvested those muskmelon vines. Where did they end up? Have they accidentally got cooked or something? That would be embarrassing. No, there are lots of muskmelon vines around. They are in a pot. Good. So that suggests to me that I should start remembering this. That maybe even writing it down. So we have the muskmelon vines in a pot, but they are not appearing in the list of things that can be cooked. So that indicates that they are not in that form cookable, which probably means there's something we can do in a farmer's workshop with them. So we can probably do a process plants task. So I'm going to try scheduling that, asking for that and seeing if someone picks it up reasonably quickly. Yes. And let's see what that does. What plants get processed? A muskmelon vine, right. So having taken a muskmelon vine into the farmer's workshop, what comes out? Someone has just picked up some seeds as well. Let's quickly investigate that. Right, so that was a plump helmet getting brewed into dwarven wine and producing plump helmet spawn. That's good. Here we have a muskmelon vine being processed. So our new brewer is now trying with a large shale pot and 5 strawberries, or probably rather more than 5 units of strawberries, another brew. Right, so processing a muskmelon vine at a farmer's workshop produces a muskmelon and a quantity of muskmelon seeds. Muskmelons are cookable but not brewable. So we will not try to brew the melon into anything, and it will be fed, will end up being an ingredient for our cooking process. So that means that while we obviously need to automate it a bit, that mechanism for converting muskmelons into something useful will work, and muskmelons will be our sustainable crops, as in we get seeds out of them by whatever our usual means is of processing them. That's nice. Even if we cook the melons, this is actually quite good. Even if with a lot of things, like if you cook a plump helmet, you don't get any seeds out of it. But here, because the processing produces the seeds, the muskmelon is then cookable without losing the seeds, and so we can use it as a sustainable cookable plant, which is good. Right, and brewing that stack of 5 strawberries into strawberry wine has, perhaps unsurprisingly, produced a quantity of strawberry seeds. Excellent. Right, so there are some facts about dwarven agriculture for us. So we can probably now start growing strawberries outside, and strawberries are a generally useful crop. Probably quite a lot more useful than spinach, because I think spinach you can't get seeds back from, so our spinach growing experiment will probably be fairly short-lived, and we can replace the spinach with strawberries. Right, I think that's probably enough for tonight. We have strawberry wine production, yes. We know how muskmelons work now. And possibly I should write that up in the wiki. You can probably infer it by understanding the crops page well enough, but I think the page on muskmelons should have like a sentence that tells you how they work. But that will be all for tonight, and we will save and be back on Friday, I expect. So until then, I shall say good night. Good night.